it says advanced tips, but honestly, I don't think it's advanced. I think it's just when you learn these tips, you're like going, oh, it's tips to help me make my life easier. For I think everybody but Wendy, I think, have seen me today, but it's just letting you know that I've been with the Real Estate Association since 2007, so I have 15 years of experience. I started off in membership and progress upward, and now myself and Anthony, my coworker, who's out at the California Association of Realtors Expo in Long Beach, is not available, but we usually work off each other, and we usually notice a lot of energy when we talk about zipForms. So I'm flying solo today. This is my email address, leo@ocrealtors.org, and that's my phone number, 714-375-9313, and my extension is 239. So if you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm really good at responding to emails as well as phone calls. If I'm not answering the call, it's perhaps because I'm sitting here teaching a class, or I'm having a conversation with an agent who's having a one-on-one conversation with me here in Fountain Valley. What we're going to learn today is just going to learn about, this is worded very weird, but you'll understand what it means after we go through it. So it's the first thing we're going to learn. The first thing we're going to learn is mutually exclusive checkbox field. The next thing is auto added addendum, text overflow addendum, clause manager, creating listing transactions with RPR, Realtors Property Resource, and the share function. So mutually exclusive checkbox field. I have to slow down when I see that because it's just not words I usually see put together, and I have to say it correctly. But this sounds like one of those old logic classes that we took in college. If A, not B. So in other words, if you're doing a transaction and if you indicate it's all cash offer, then there can't be any loan information. We're going to refer to RPA section 3C and 3D, but there'll be a few instances of other transactions, other forms that you'll see that may have this mutually exclusive checkbox field. If it's not this, it has to be that, and it will prevent you from check marking both. So let's get out of this for just a moment. I'm going to minimize this, close my email, and let's jump into zipForms. Did you log me out? Oh, bad word. That's okay. Not a problem. Easy. Not a problem. See, even myself, I'll run into computer issues. And it does log you out over a little bit of time. So just a heads up, when you encounter that, just deep breath and log back in. So if A, not B. So we are going to look at the last transaction we created in the last class, well, that we altered for Alexander and Charlene. So we're going to look at the residential purchase agreement. I'm going to scroll down to a certain section that was described in my notes. If A, not B. So it is here. Come on, talk to me. There we go. So let me verification of all verification So if A, not B, it's not behaving correctly. If A, not B, there we are. If A, not B, see, when I click over here at 3A, over here, a lot of things all of a sudden disappear. All of this that's required for loan amounts, you can't do anything with it. Nothing. Because you can't have an all cash offer and have loan information. It just doesn't make sense. So this was instituted long ago when individuals were submitting offers with both fields added and completed. And it was very confusing because you're saying on one hand it's all cash, but then you're saying no, it's not all cash. There is some loan information. So if A, not B. So if it's an FHA loan, then it can be, you would just complete all that information. So anyways, if A or not B, so that's an example of a mutually exclusive checkbox field. Advanced tip? No, I just say it's a tip. So that's an example of it. And you're going to find it occasionally here and there. That's just one that I happened to find long ago. And I'm like, okay, this is the one example I can be able to use it in. The next thing I want to go over will be the auto adding addendum. So if you click that you will be including a form, then zipForms will automatically add that form. We're going to refer to RPA section 2, section 5, no, it's page 2, section 2, page 2, section 5, addenda and advisories. And if added accidentally, uncheck and remove the form manually. So we go into the RPA and we see that over here, I hope everybody can see this fine. I know I missed it, but I just want to double check something first. Okay. Oh, we've revised it. I see. Okay, not a problem. I know how to get beyond this. We will overcome together. There we go. So SBSA. So we're in page 4 of part of section 4. So let's say we needed to add, and that's a new one, wildfire advisory, disaster advisory. So if I click that, it's indicated that yes, it's added that form. And then also if I add, say, a probate advisory, if I click that, it will indicate, yes, you've added that form. How do I know those forms have been added? If I go back out of it, I will see that in my documents that the probate advisory and the wildfire disaster are there. And that other box that I clicked earlier with the FVAC, that's been added as well. So if I wanted those, great. If I didn't want those, I have to uncheck mark those. But I have to also delete them manually. So let's go into the RPA. And then let's say I wanted to uncheck mark the probate advisory. Well, if I do that, guess what? The probate advisory is still there. So you have to delete it. So small little arrow, click down, and you have to delete it. That's the only way to delete a form when you accidentally add it. So you have to do two things, uncheck mark it and also remove it manually. But you can keep adding a SBSA form if you needed it. Will automatically be added. And you'll see it's right there. Statewide buyer and seller advisory. So there it is. So that is called an auto adding addendum. Before it was you check mark it and then you have to add the form. That was frustrating, but this system that's in place by CAR and zipForms, much easier to contend with. Text overflow addendum. This is a good one. This will automatically add an addendum when the text is more than the display field. So it's kind of like when we had Twitter long ago, you only had 140 spaces and that's it. You can't go any further. And there's nothing else you can add to it. I know that Twitter, you still kind of have that. And there's a lot of other fields that in computer wise, we had a lot of restricted spaces. Well, with this one, it'll automatically add the TOA form, the text overflow addendum. So you can write as much as you need to. So it will display the contract page and section when you do the TOA form and can be used in any contract requiring text. And this will automatically add more TOA forms if you fill out the first TOA page. So if you added a bunch of addendums, if you added a bunch of TOAs, that's okay. Just keep going. It'll automatically keep it on page 2, page 3, page 4, etc. So let's practice with that. So we're going to the RPA. I just like to pick on the RPA. And we're going to choose a section. Let me find one that I like. Additional finance terms. Okay, so we're going to start off with the word start. And then we're going to just hit a bunch of numbers. And, these, if this was a story about the financial terms, it would be, loan from so-and-so or whatever, in your scenario, it's going to be different. But I'm just filling this all up. And none of these are my phone numbers. So just letting you know, you can't call me 24 hours because I have a 10-year-old who loves to sleep and is very difficult to wake up in the morning. And I'm going to end it like end. Okay, so I started with start and have it end. Okay, now if I click away outside that field, you're going to see that the word end does not appear anywhere here. It has the word start, but there's no end. And it's just a lot of other numbers in between. So how do I know that a TOA form, a text overflow addendum, was created? We can click preview. So I click preview. And depending on your internet speed, it may take a little bit because this RPA contract is a really long contract. And now I'm going to scroll all the way down. Yeah, you know what? Kind of close your eyes for a bit. You get sick from this. I know some people get sick from this. And then we go all the way down to the text. You can open your eyes now. The text overflow addendum. So here it is. It tells me the addendum for this particular property for these clients. And here's the RPA contract, G2 additional finance terms, and it starts with the word start and it has the word end. So it has everything I typed in between there. So you don't have to worry about, should I truncate it? Should I leave off vowels, etc.? No, just type to your heart's content here as much as you can, without getting in trouble, of course, and make sure that you are concise when you put out this information. So it's just, you don't have to worry about this. It is a really nice tool to have. I believe in the past, you would just write down CTOA form. Oh, and by the way, what does it look like on the RPA contract when you look there? Might as well just take a look there. In the past, you had to write CTOA form and then you would fill out the TOA form manually. And you have to make sure you say, oh, it's in this spot, etc. But the way zipForms is set up nowadays is making it much easier. So let me go into, there it is. See, text overflow addendum, CAR form, TOA paragraph 1. Yes. And then if you go to the TOA form, you see it's right there. Perfect. So use that to your best abilities. Now, the next thing I have to go over is Clause Manager. Clause Manager, there it is. So those of you who have taken the first class today, you recall that we had a template. A template is what we used in case we run into certain situations or repetitive transactions where we put together forms, a template, and then apply that template of forms in a given situation. So if you do a lot of leases, you have these forms that you use on a regular basis for leases, and every time you do a lease transaction, you pull that template and auto-populate all those forms on there. You save a lot of time. Clause Manager behaves the same way. Clause is verbiage that may be used for often needed forms or for forms that are rarely used but require specific wording. Personal clauses are the ones created by the user, us. Library clauses are from the broker. So if you're using a broker edition, you'll have to speak to your broker about that. If you're using a broker edition, you have to log in through the brokerage. Then you will also see their library clauses, and they have specific wording for certain given situations. We're going to focus on this class on personal clauses. So we're going to create a clause. It's going to be a category, clause title, clause wording, pencil, icon. We're going to talk about that. Insert clause or change casing of letters. So let's go ahead and have some fun with that. So I'll go back. I don't recall if I deleted my old clauses. Oh, this is going to be cheating because you're going to see my old clauses. Okay, so here we are. We're in the beginning of transactions. You see the transaction tools, and our first choice is clause manager. So this is the process of creating those clause managers. Gosh darn it, let me just delete the clauses first. There we go. So we're going to focus on personal clauses. So here we are. You're going to see a blank page just like this. You're going to create a new clause. You're going to create a category. Now I'm going to use buyer. Title will be at close of escrow. Okay. So what we're going to do is the text. We're going to write down buyer is responsible. And your real life situation, of course, is going to differ from this. I'm just showing you how to use the software, how to use a clause. Buyer is responsible for providing cookies at time of closing. Okay, you're smiling. Maybe some of you are laughing, but you get the idea because you might be dealing with a probate. You might be dealing with a short sale. You might be dealing with different scenarios that you don't come across on a regular basis. It's best that you work with your mentor or your broker to see what wording they want in a given situation on a form. So maybe you have to do a one-on-one with your brokerage to see what kind of wording you need. If you get in a situation where you're, let's say with a probate, I'm not a probate expert, but there are some out there, and you come across one and you're needing assistance, you want to talk to the California Association of Realtors legal hotline if no one's available, you'll get the wording from them. You'll type it in here as a clause. And that way, if at any time you have a probate issue again, you can auto-populate that wording into that specific area that you need it for. Sounds like Fountain Valley's Finest is outside the door, but I'm going to continue. At time of closing. I'm doing one for seller. Seller will provide milk at time of closing. Yes, more smiles, more smiles. Just showing you how to use the software to your benefit. So this is a tip to minimize populating the same wordage over and over again, or wording that you don't normally see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that same document, residential purchase agreement, and I'm going to, let's say, populate it right down here, other terms. So in areas where we have wording and we could put wording in, I am going to click that pencil. There's our clause manager icon. I'll explain what these other letters mean in just a moment. So I click the clause manager. I'm going to choose the buyer in this case because it's the first one, and it applies in my situation. Your situation is going to differ. And I am going to now click it again, choose a different category to the seller, and insert that. So now we see that under other terms, buyers responsible for providing cookies at time of closing, seller will provide milk at time of closing. Now, if I click here again and click the pencil one more time, we'll see that these different letters mean different things. So if I click this first one, now mind you, I've only capitalized the first letter of every sentence. I'm going to change that by now I'm emphasizing I've capitalized the first letter of every word. So that makes it a little bit easier to pay attention to the sentence. Or if I want to soften it up, it's lowercase. Every single word is lowercase. But if I wanted to scream scream this at the individual, make it, I want you to see this, then I'm going to capitalize it. There's no way to undo to the original way that I had when it was just a capital letter only on the first letter of the sentence. So it's either this one. There we go. Every word is capital, has a capital letter at the front of it. Everything's lowercase and everything is screaming at you. So those are some of the tools that are available through the clause manager. And I think with the clause manager, you'll want to have to devote some extra time and energy to have that be beneficial for you. It's going to be something that you're going to have to research on your own to say, oh, okay, this is wording that I will probably use when I deal with a listing or wording I use with a lease, etc. So that is what, once again, clause manager. Oops, close that up. Now the next thing to cover is creating a listing transaction using RPR. Okay, now how many, let me know in Q&A, how many of you have ever heard of RPR, otherwise known as the Realtor's Property Resource? And don't be shy, it's okay. Realtor's Property Resource. And while you're thinking about it, I will let you know that the Realtor's Property Resource is a tool that is provided to you by the National Association of Realtors. So this is a tool available to any realtor nationwide. So with no information, no hands or nothing on Q&A, that tells me that Realtors Property Resource is a new tool to you, which that's okay. Because when I first learned about it, like, wow, this is cool. Okay, well, you know, I get excited about this kind of stuff. You know, maybe I should go out and learn some more stuff. But you know what? Yes, Edgar says this new tool. So thank you, Edgar. So this is a tool that you're going to find, whether it's going to be narrpr.com. I think that's the website. I think that's it. Okay. That's it. Yes, that's it. Also, you could find it when you log into MLS. So when you log into your CRMLS dashboard, and this is the way I prefer to do it. My coworker likes to do it. Anthony likes to do it somewhere else, but I prefer that you go through here through the dashboard. You click RPR, and this will automatically put you in a process where you have to link your NAR account to RPR, the Realtors Property Resource. You'll have to link your CRMLS account to this as well. Because once again, it's only available to realtor members. Plus, there's some tools here that give you some extra support because you are a CRMLS user. So you get the benefits of both. So RPR. So we're going to show you how to do a transaction with RPR. And by the way, you can look for properties, let's say Austin, Texas. There we go, Austin, Texas. And we keep hearing about Austin, Texas quite a bit. And we want to look for properties for sale and active. You know, it's kind of like using realtor.com in a way. And you can use other filters, single family home, etc. You'll see that there's 2,356 listings. And if you're looking at a particular listing, you can, and there's a bunch of them there. If I click that one, it's 1.3 million. So it's almost the same price out here. So you have this tool to look at properties and be able to do research. But let me show you something about what I'm going to teach you. So I'm going to teach you about a house at 2316 Hill Lane. 2316 Hill Lane was a house I used to live at when I was a kid. Mom and Dad bought this house. Property details page updates. We made a few updates to the property details page in RPR. Can we show you the improvements? No, remind me later. So the 2316 is where I used to live at when I was a kid for a short time. Now, Mom and Dad bought this house for $17,000. And as you can see, you know, it's increased in value a little bit. 1.6 million for that $17,000 house. Wow. So this was a wooden structure, 5-bedroom, 1 bath, and on a clear day, you could see the beach at Redondo Beach. And the big thing for us as kids, we saw the Goodyear blimp fly by, and that was a big thing for us. But my parents sold it for a great price. That's for $68,000 in 1979. So that to them, that was a great price, going from 17,000 to 68,000. So yeah, that's the wooden structure there. And the people that we sold it to, mom and dad sold it to, David and Karen, they're still there. So this tells you information about where it's located at. Of course, a map gives you some information. If you see that they have 2 bathrooms instead of 1 bathroom, you can make the change here and that'll update some of it, but it's not going to change it anywhere. It's just going to be for your records. It's just going to be on your profile. So it doesn't go out anywhere. And then it tells you about some of the schools. We got some A+ rated schools. We have lot size, 7,510 square feet, and gives you the neighborhood code, building quality, etc. It's a wooden structure. It was built in the 1930s. Walkability, it's out of 5 is 2.8. It really is there's not much to see in that neighborhood. I mean, there's a school nearby and that's about it. You really have to drive everywhere to go to a store. So there's not a neighborhood market you can go to. But there's some loan information and sales in the area, etc. So you see that there is some information about it. But so if you're going to visit this property, 2316 Hill Lane, you're going to talk to David and Karen. And they were asking you, I'm interested in selling my property because I want to go see the rest of my family in Nebraska. Okay, Nebraska is nice during the summer, maybe during the winter and fall. I don't know. But so they're going to move. And so you approach them like, well, I have a real estate license. I'm a realtor. I can be able to assist you. So you can use RPR to help get some information. So you can also look at market trends in the area. You can run reports that will help them decide whether or not 1.6, 1.4 is the right value for their home. In this refined value, you could make changes to the property. Like let's say that, it needs improvement because it's an old house. You could say that's you'll need $20,000 of improvement. Actually, well, need improvement, say paint. And say that's going to be $2,000. Add improvement. So yeah, you can keep on adding improvements, etc. And you say that local conditions, oh, it's hot. Home exterior, it's not. Interior, it might be okay. Lot size, it might be okay. Privacy, not so much. So now you can see that making all these changes change it from 1.6 million down to 1.577. So, so these are things that you can do to hone in on what perhaps is the right value to sell this property at. So, and you could create reports, etc. And there's a lot more that's into this. I would say, take some time, go into RPR. There are actually videos through their blog that you can take a look at. And there it is on the bottom right. Click the blog and you could be able to learn more about RPR. Edgar's surprised. Edgar's saying, wow, Edgar, go ahead and take a look at your old house or neighborhoods or friends' houses. You could be able to pull up the information and you'll wow them too. You can use, Anima's asking, can we use Realist? Sure, instead of RPR. Go ahead. You can use Realist and RPR. It's entirely up to you. I would say do both. Look at your property, look at your old houses, look at your friends' houses, and use both and see which one will be a better presentation tool for you to talk to a potential client when doing a listing, to get a listing presentation done. Because I ultimately, I want you to get the listing. I don't want anybody else to get it. And it's just a tool that I have to share with you because I think it's such a great tool that everyone should know about it. RPR. So let's go ahead and instead of playing with it and spending a lot of time on it, let's go ahead and use this button here. It says Transaction zipForm Edition. So it's right over here. We found no zipForm transaction for this city state. Yeah, I haven't created one, so I'm going to create a new zipForm transaction. So it's going to be a listing because I'm going to list it. You could do purchase or lease if you have a situation where it's going to be a purchase or lease. If you're representing a buyer or if representing a tenant or someone's going to lease it. Transaction created. Excellent. So let me go to zipForms. So what it's going to do is going to pull the information straight from RPR, Realtors Property Resource, and populate it into zipForms. So we'll just give it a moment. Depending on your internet speed, this might take a little bit longer. And let me scroll down just a little bit. And you're going to see there's no listing ID number because we don't have a signed listing agreement. So there's no MLS number. Lot number 2316 Hill Lane. It's in Los Angeles County, Redondo Beach. Block number 7, APN number, etc., 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 etc. And you can see a lot of information down there. So you would fill this out when you're working with your potential new client. The parties will be here. David's right here. And if we take a look at David's information, I'm going to throw in an email address. Leo for work. There we go. Save. So there's David's information and documents. There's no documents here. So you have to be the one to start creating documents. So if you had a template, you would use a template if you wanted to. If you wanted to load the forms on manually, you can do so, like a cover sheet, residential listing agreement, sure. Anybody with an idea of a form to use? Maybe SPQ, I guess. Seller's property questionnaire. Yeah, I'll just stop with that. So let's say just these three. So you would fill out, and I like, and myself and Anthony, we both prefer that you use a cover sheet just to fill it out and you can complete it so that way it auto-populates in all the forms. It's just clean. This is just for your records, not for your client. And then there's the residential listing agreement. So you would go through it with your client, David, and perhaps Karen, and have them, I only added David in this example, but I could add Karen as well. And go through the whole process and make sure that they understand the terms, and you're going to send it out to them for electronic signature if they're okay with that, if they have access to a computer and an email address. So we can have them do that. So that is how you use RPR to create a transaction. And you can practice with this all you want. You can go to your old house, a friend's house, etc., and just say, oh, this is how you do it. So any questions about using the Realtors Property Resource? Golly gee willikers, I just covered a lot of information within the last 34 minutes. And that's without even drinking coffee today. Wow. Okay. So that's fine. So how many of you are going to play with RPR within the next 2 days? I would encourage you to take your time, but you're going to have to know your 9-digit number, your 9-digit NERDS number, National Realtor Database System ID number. If you don't know it, we're open today, we're open tomorrow. You can get it from us. Otherwise, in the weekend, there might be a link. Great, Sherry. I'm glad you're going to take advantage of it. Do it for do a report on your own house, and you can see that how the value of your home is worth. And you can adjust it. Well, okay, it needs more painting. Oh, it paint's fine. Oh, it's beautiful inside. It's like excellent. You can adjust the values and you can create your own value that it should be. That you that just based on what you see. Sorry about that. So Nima, could you say again how to pull info from RPR to zipForms? Just the beginning. Okay, sure. So we'll go into zipForms. Okay, there we go. Excuse me. So we go into 2316 Hill Lane, same house. Sorry about that. 2316. I would scroll down and go to additional resources. And then I would click transactions, zipForm edition. And I would click that. Even though it sees that I already did one, you would normally not see it. You would click start a new zipForm transaction. Nima says, thank you. Oh, you're welcome. And then it goes to the process of pulling the information straight from the realtor's property resource into zipForms. So that's a great tool to use. I guess the realtor's property resource gets me all choked up. Such a great tool. Anyways, let's move on. I would say if you have any more questions, you can reach out to me. I'm learning to be to be RPR certified. So I'm kind of learning more about it. My coworker Anthony is RPR certified. So I'm going to lean on him for some information too. If I don't know the answer, so you can feel free to reach out to me about RPR. The next thing I want to teach you is a share function. The share function is the last thing that topic I have to offer you today at 4:08 p.m. And so we're going to take a look at a particular, we'll look at this one. Charlene client. We'll look at the documents. Better yet, no, we're not going to use this transaction. Excuse me. Let me go into, where did that one go? 2316, there we go. 2316. So I got parties, David, documents, seller property questionnaire. Let me show you what the seller property questionnaire is. So the seller property questionnaire is, there's some fields I can be able to input, 2316 Hill Lane, Los Angeles County, I can alter that a little bit, but these gray areas, I can't do anything with it because it's intended for seller one to complete. I'm not seller one, David is. So if we scroll down, we see a lot of gray fields and we can be able to input stuff here, but not much. So we're going to take a look. So what I'm going to do is, since I cannot complete it, and I'm not supposed to complete it, it's supposed to be the seller who completes it, I go into parties. And then I see this weird icon of people, and I see this weird icon of people. That's the share function. So either one, doesn't matter, you can click that. And it's going to give me the ability to allow David to edit the form, upload it. He can view the history if he wanted to. And I have a stop sharing date. So I have a stop sharing date automatically 30 days in advance. But time's a wasted. I gotta get things done ASAP. So Mr. David's got to get it done. Let's see, today's October 13th. Let's get it done by 15th. And the form that I want him to be able to manipulate would be the seller's property questionnaire, which is the one that he's authorized to touch. The other ones, no, I don't want him touching the other ones. And I save and send. And now what's the zipForms is allowing me to do is allowing me to send an invitation. Leo Loera has invited you to collaborate on documents for 2316 Hill Lane, Redondo Beach. I could write a note here. I'm going to skip that for right now. And then I'm going to send this out to Mr. David. So it's on its way over to David. And the purpose of it is that he can do the changes to that form, and I can view the changes to the form on my end. So that way it'll be like, oh, you did this. Oh, great. And I could say, what about this thing you were supposed to do? Oh, yeah, I forgot to do that. Okay, well then, can you fix it? Sure. So let me go into my email account. There we go. David has received this. And if there's anybody that you know David in the room, I apologize. I'm going to be saying David a lot in the next few minutes. So David clicked view documents. Now, the first thing that pops up is this zip community. Now, this is the forum where it allows David to manipulate that form. Now he can, if he has used zip community in past, he can log in with the username and password that he recalls. However, he can log in with his Facebook account. He can log in with his Google Plus account. Honestly, myself and Anthony, we're not comfortable with Facebook or Google Plus having access or information that my client or my potential client, David, actually no, my client, David, is going to be doing something related to real estate. They don't need to know that. I don't know what kind of data they get. So I'm going to have David create an account. So David's information's here. I can't change that for whatever reason. Last name and first name are flipped. It's like, okay. This is a default username, so I'm fine with that. And email address, password. Oh, let's see, have at least one number, one letter, mixture of uppercase and lowercase, have one special character. Okay. And I think that's it. I think I messed up. Let me click that up. Okay, this is it. Okay, I'm going to create an account. You won't see this, but I do because I keep using the same email address over and over again as a demo. So I'm going to continue with this email. I will continue with this email unless there's an error. Okay, good. So there are some terms and conditions. Now, when you practice with this share function, I would encourage you to print this out and save it. So that way, in case your client has questions about the end user agreement, you can quickly answer those questions. So you can print it, you can download it, etc. David is going to either choose, I have read and agreed to the terms and conditions of the Lone Wolf Technologies yield and privacy policy, or I do not accept it. Luckily, in this scenario, our friend David has said, okay, I agree with it. So he's going to click continue. So we have a document to manipulate. And after we click documents, I know we didn't reflect it there, but there was there's a document because we know about it. So we walk with David over this. Somebody has a question for me. Is there any option is there any other option if David's not tech savvy? Yes, Nima's asking, is there any other option if David's not tech savvy? Yes, you could print it out, hand it to David, and have him fill it out, and then somehow get that form back. Don't have him sign it yet, so that way you can go over that form in person, ideally, to reflect if all the information that he's completed is correct. So yes, you could do it one-on-one in person. During the COVID, during the pandemic, a lot of people were very concerned about doing human interaction. So this was kind of the norm, is do the share function for the seller property questionnaire. So in this scenario, David's okay with, he's pretty techie for a guy who bought a house from my parents way back when. He sees that the purple section, he can't do anything with it. So he's like, okay, I get that. And you tell him he can't do anything with it. But the light blue sections is where he can do something. So if he says, if he says yes to this, within the last year, the death of an occupant upon the property, no. And he'll go one by one answering these questions in good tab A, no, the release of a no. And let's say he answers all these questions for no, and he forgot a couple of them, and he sends this over to you. No. Let's say he just did that. Like, oh, I'm all done with page 1. And he clicks save. He said, okay, Dave, click save. Because he calls you up because you told him, complete it, give me a call as soon as you're done. Okay, he's done it. Click save. And then on your end, you go into your zipForm account. You go into the same transaction. Oops, same transaction. Look at the documents. Look at the seller property questionnaire. And then you see, it's kind of hard to see. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see here. But here he has check mark this box, this box, this box, missed this one, check mark that one, that one, that one. So you can say, Dave, thank you for completing most of number 6, but there's a couple of them that you didn't complete, so you need to complete those. And then were you aware that there's more pages than one that you have to complete? And he was like, oh my goodness, I'm so embarrassed. So after he gets over that moment of embarrassment, he goes ahead and completes it. So like, let's say right now, our dear friend David just to speed things up, David will go, let's go into this page. Diseases or infestations affecting trees. No. Operational, yes. Sprinklers, let's say automatic, yes. That curve, no. A pool heater on the property, no. And no. A spot heater, no. And no. Okay, so I just completed this. I say David saves it. Saved. And then our dear friend, the agent, Leo, says, okay, David, let me take a look. Go into seller property questionnaire. And then I scroll down to what he was supposed to complete, and where is it? There it is. Diseases or infestations affected trees, plants, or vegetations on or near the property. He wrote down no. Operational sprinklers, yes, on the property, and so on. So he's completed all this, and I see that. If I had a question as, like, let's say he wrote down no for a spa heater is on the property, because I did go to his property, and I saw that there was a spa, and he just bragged about how he was in the spa a couple days ago, and I said, hey, Dave, I see that 13D, you indicate the spa heater on the property is not working, but you told me that you were in the spa just a couple of days ago. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me correct it. So he has the ability to go back and correct it, and then save it, and then you can be able to see that document over and over again. So it's a better way of doing this, going back and forth this way, rather than sending the document out to Dave. He completes it, sends it back to you, and you look at it like, there's some stuff missing. And then you have to reach out back to Dave, and Dave says, oh, I'm so sorry, let me fix this. And then he notices some errors afterwards. So this is a great tool to use to be able to take care of the issue. Nima asks, what if Dave doesn't know the answer? Ooh, that's a good question. Depending on, let's see. Property being no, not a condo. That might be a legal issue. You want to double check with Sierra Legal. There's some stuff that you should know, like past or present pets on or in on the property. I mean, those are easy ones. But yeah, there might be, you have to double check with CAR Legal to double check on that, or the broker to double check on that. Depends on that particular question. Because honestly, no one's ever asked me that question before. So that's a very good one. So you kind of stumped me on that. Thank you, Nima. So I hope that you see that this tool, sharing, is an easy tool to use. In fact, if you're in the business long enough, maybe you'll be a mentor, and now you can share these documents with your fellow agents, and you can train them on how to complete these particular forms. So you can do a practice session of a transaction, send documents over to another agent, say, okay, you're going to pretend to be the listing agent and I'll pretend to be the client, and then you work with them that way, or other forms if you needed to. So this is not restricted just to CAR forms. You can use different PDF forms to be able to share and work with a different individual every single time. So that's the share function. Any questions about share? I love share. It's just such a, it creates so less drama you don't have to worry about. I like it. And going back to that, yes. And then there's, if you wanted to put the calendar together and follow up, you could do so. You can be able to, there was a way, there we go. You can reach out to the agent to contact the agent or call. There we go. So David can reach out to the agent, me, and ask questions if he has questions about doing this. Wow, share function. I know it's 4:22. Let me see if there's something I can share with you, about another tool within zipForms. So when we're in the dashboard, this is to check your productivity, and you can also check the last things you worked on so you can follow up with it later. This is the dashboard. You can see how many active listings you have. Now, who changes the status of the listings? If you go into transactions, that would be you. So if, like, for example, this particular one, if I click here where it says active, I can change it to pending, prospect, inactive, fell through, closed. So I can, for now, I'll just change it to say pending, just to, so that way in my dashboard, I should have a reflection that I have a pending when I have to follow up on, and I can create contacts here. I can create, this is really a tool to help you out. Yeah, active transaction types, not a lot. And you can put tasks together, and this is a cool tool I would encourage you to use. Oh, I have 2 e-signings in progress. Clause manager, lookup field manager. Lookup field manager is just, there's fields that are saved throughout zipForms that you type in. You can be able to clear those out if you wanted to. New transaction, you could do a new transaction here. List flash, never used it before, so I really can't advise you on that one way or another. I'm sorry. But new contacts, you can always add a new contact by inputting the name of the individual, what category, buyer or seller, their role, etc. And you can put in their information. I would encourage you to put a contact in there with your email address, so that way you can practice going back and forth to double check things. So that way you get to see from the client's perspective and you get to see from your own perspective. And the same thing is true whether you go to contacts and do the same thing. You could import contacts if you wanted to from your zipForm account, if you wanted to, top producer, Google Contacts, Microsoft, Yahoo, Moxie, Engage Contacts, I don't know anything about, and a CSV, so in other words, a spreadsheet. Moxie Engage Contacts, that's new for me. And if you have a contact you don't need, you can delete it. There we go. So this class was supposed to go on until 5 o'clock. I guess the last thing I really talk about is, we're not available to answer questions 24/7, but the help function is down here where it says guided help. You can get started with some tips that you can read, and this is all provided from ZipLogix. This is the one that put together zipForm. So they'll teach you how to use the software. There's some videos which you can watch at any time. And honestly, when you watch these videos, it'll teach you how, one way of doing it, but it may not be true for our realtor members. That's the problem, because, for example, in most states, you log into zipForms through the zipForm website. We log in through the CAR website. So you have to log in with your CAR credentials. Can you transfer contacts from LionDesk? That I don't know. And I didn't see that option, unfortunately. So I don't know. The question is, can I transfer contacts from Lion Desk? I don't know. Yeah, I honestly don't know. I don't see an option for Lion Desk. So if I don't see it on here, or nor I see it in there, I'm going to have to say probably not. So I apologize for that. I know Lion Desk is very popular. So help is found here. Videos, guides, etc. Another resource, you click that, same thing. If you want feedback, another resource is on our website, ocrealtors.org. And it's under our video library. So if I go into education, look at, education, go into video library, and you're going to see a tile, which is just for zipForms, and you click the playlist, which is really our YouTube videos that we created. And we just have them here. So you can see my coworker Anthony put together zipForm training. I made it family feud style, made it fun. And there's other different tools you can take advantage of. You know, another great resource, and we don't talk about it that often, is the California Association of Realtors. So we go through the California Association of Realtors, and I go into YouTube. Because the reason why I have you go through YouTube for the California Association of Realtors, gosh darn it, well, I don't know that high person. I go into Zip Tips, like ZIPTIPS, and this is for CAR. There we go. These are my Zip Tips. Now CAR is put together. Of course, I get ads just like all of you. So it's a list of different tools that will also assist you straight from the California Association of Realtors. And they give you a lot of short videos, which has helped me in a pinch, like disabling the pop-up blocker. MLS Connect, we use MLS Connect with our board. There's different tools you can take advantage of that are talked about in these short little videos. So you don't have to watch a whole hour and a half, 2-hour video to just pick up something that you need within a few minutes. So I definitely recommend Zip Tips offered by the California Association of Realtors. And last but not least, you can always rely on calling us here at the association. We are open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. taking phone calls. Myself, I generally work from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. if I'm working at the office, which is every 2 weeks. If I'm working from home, it's 8:30 to 5:30, Monday through Friday. But you can definitely leave me a voicemail or an email, and I'll be more than happy to assist you. And let's see, give you my contact information. Let me pull that up. There we are. Right slide. There we are. That's me. So if you need to reach out to me, 714-375-9313, extension 239. If you call the Laguna Hills location, 949-586-6800, just put in 239. That'll get you over to me. Honestly, if you don't put in the extension number, you'll get one of our receptionists, and they can route the call over to me. If I'm not available for any reason, just leave me a voicemail. I'll be more than happy to respond to you. The email address is right there, leo@ocrealtors.org. So I'm really good at responding to voicemails and emails because I know it's important that you need assistance. And I know that ultimately you have a client at the far end that needs that assistance as well. In a pinch, you may need assistance with a client. So let me look for that information. That is right here. Now, with the California Association of Realtors, they have some Saturday hours. We don't. The CAR support is 213-739-8227, right there. ZipLogix, which is the one that takes care of ZipForms. Their phone number is 586 area code 840-0140. They're open 24 hours on weekdays. Weekends, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and CAR Legal. I just noticed on their website, it said that they're not available on Saturdays right now. So it's only Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., 213-739-8282. They're going to need your national realtor number as well, your NRDS ID number. If you don't know what it is, give us a call. We can be able to assist you with that. And also the Lone Wolf support, which owns zipForms and zipLogics. You can call them for assistance. And this is our link to our video library once again. So you have a lot of different ways to get assistance when you have a problem with zipForms. So don't act like there's no one there because, well, we're here. If we don't know the answer, then we can reach out to the right people to get you that answer. So that's pretty much it. I will go ahead and save this video, and I'll be able to share this video with you. You may get it by as early as tomorrow or perhaps Monday. But I wanted to leave it with one last a chance to be able to ask me a question because, well, it's just us, a few of us here today. Edgar says, great info. Thanks, Edgar. See, compliments are good. Sending positive energy is always good. As realtors, you populate the planet with positive energy, the whole world gets better. Thank you. And honestly, you have a really tough job. It really is. Some people don't understand it. So I understand it because, well, I have family that's been in it for some years, so I get it. All right, so I'm going to stop this sharing screen right here. Now you have me, and I'm here to help you out. And you'll also have, once again, our staff. So if you have any other questions, not related to zipForms, but related to MLS, we have a staff of 3 individuals that can help you with that. You can give us a call for that. I'm one of 2 Supra key specialists, so you can call me regarding Supra. Actually, most of our staff knows how to use Supra. They're very well informed about Supra because I make sure that I tell them what I know, so I can enjoy a vacation or 2 every once in a while. Nima, thank you. Nima says thank you. Yes, and if you also have some membership questions, reach out to us. I'm more than happy to assist you. I guess with that, I thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to you perhaps signing up for our future classes. And you'll find that under education, choose the calendar and choose whatever class you wish. Most of our classes are free, so do take advantage of it because ultimately your membership's paying for this. So we thank you for that. All right. Have yourself a great rest of the day. And since we're leaving a little bit early, I hope the rest of the day, the rest of the week, the rest of the year is drama-free. And Edgar, thank you for the great, thank you, Edgar. Thank you for the great explanation with some humor on it. It could be taught dry, this stuff. And I know that this is really hard. And Wendy, I thank you for being here as well, because, it is tough. I can just sit here and tell you like numbers and things and houses. It's a house, $17,000 house. Who cares? But it's my house. I grew up there. So thank you. Thank you for being here. And I wish you a great rest of the day. All right. Take care. Bye-bye now.